Welcome back to the Guy Dawson Show at WCOBM.com, the World Center of Broadcast Media. And every week when I get the show started, I talk about Classy Communications, which is a public relations and advertising company that I am the managing member of. And I wanted to make another announcement on the show today, is that our firm has been chosen as the representative PR firm for a political candidate. She is going to be running in District 1 here in Las Vegas. Her name is Mary Perry. She's the Republican candidate. She's going to be running against a very strong candidate named Dina Titus. People in Las Vegas know. She is the sitting congresswoman in District 1, and so we're just really excited about having the opportunity to be a part of Mary's campaign. She'll be making appearances on the radio and television shows over the next couple of months, and the political season is going to be really interesting. I'm very excited about working with her and promoting the platforms that she has. She's a wonderful woman, and again, you'll be seeing quite a bit of Mary Perry over the next year.
I like her name, begin with Mary Perry. It sounded like a branding.
That really is her name. It really is her name. We've been speaking with Nancy Gabriel. She is with Mediation Around the Table, LLC. It's a company that helps create cohesive relationships, doesn't it?
It helps.
Really, Nancy? And Maxine, the credit lady.
Yes. It helps people and relationships with dignity, as well as just resolving conflicts in general. I was going to talk a little bit about some specific people that I have helped in the past, and one comes to mind. It was an elderly man in his 80s who had remarried, and then he died, and he left 3 adult children from the first marriage. And after he died, or before he died, he claimed the house to his wife. And then he died, so the family home became the second wife's house. And the adult children wanted to go in and get some of their childhood memories from the house, because the widow was moving back to Utah. And she was petrified that they were going to come in and clean her out, and she wouldn't even have a fork or a spoon or anything left. And so she packed everything up and moved the whole house up to Utah. And they came to see me, the adult siblings came to see me, and we got the widow on the phone. And through the process of mediation, everybody understood where everybody else was coming from. And the adult children didn't want the forks and knives and spoons. One of them wanted their parents' wedding album, and one of them wanted their childhood bedroom set. And there were just some specific things. And once the widow realized that they weren't going to clean her out, she relaxed, and we were able to make arrangements for the son to take a truck and go up to Utah and pack up the specific things that the family wanted and bring them down here. And everybody won, nobody lost, and the relationship was preserved.
Oh, that's wonderful. Wow, it's a beautiful story.
It took less than an hour in my office, too. And they had been going back and forth, and nobody speaking to each other and all for months.
Now, I find amazing is communication, right?
Yes.
Communication. If people communicated in credit, if people communicated in relationships, talk about the good and the bad, and sometimes the ugly, it's part of life. And I think that yes, I love what you bring to there's so much value to bringing the peace.
Thank you.
And at the end of the day, I think it comes down to the children.
Well, it also comes down to listening to each other.
Yes.
And really hearing what the other person's saying, as opposed to thinking about what you're going to say back.
Right.
And I find that happens oftentimes with people in conflict, is they don't really hear each other. Mm-hmm. So as a mediator, I'm trained to help people hear each other. So I might say, what did Maxine just say to you, Guy? And I would have you repeat it back. I sometimes have my people in conflict literally switch chairs and talk in her voice and talk in his voice,
right,
so that I'm understanding both of you, and more importantly, you're understanding each other. Once you get to that understanding, the next step is the compromise and is the resolution. And it enables everybody to move forward with dignity and as a winner, and nobody's caving and nobody's giving in.
Yes.
Yeah, you need
Wow.
the third party to able to communicate. Sometimes like headstrong, both party together is like try to
Yes.
kill each other something.
Right.
Mediator.
Right.
So you have a chance to give to both sides, let the voices be heard.
And what's different
Find a
about a
solution.
mediator as opposed to an attorney is that I'm the neutral person. I'm not on either person's
Yes.
side. When you
Same
pick
thing.
an attorney and you pick an attorney, your attorneys are your advocates. And sometimes the attorneys butt heads, and that costs you money. I don't butt heads with anybody. I'm just the opposite. I'm the communicator. I am the one that's trying to help people have a voice of reason, and more than just reason, have a voice in general. Because sometimes people come in, I find couples particularly, where maybe the wife is driving the divorce bus and the husband doesn't want to be there. And I have techniques and tools at my disposal, and most of them are language related, to where I can have the husband say, okay, what's your perfect scenario? And if he says reconciliation, I'll say, what's your second most perfect scenario? And, you know, sometimes I use humor, but my abilities sort of lie with getting people to open up. And I think they do that because I'm not the judge. I'm not going to judge them.
Yeah, same thing. It bounces back to the same thing, finances, credit. And speaking of credit, I don't know if I finished the this past week after the New Year resolution. I had 4 panicking customers. 2 were mine, 2 were not. And I don't mean to laugh or anything. It just kind of like I was like I wasn't shocked. I wasn't surprised because I'm in the business, but I had forewarned him many times. He woke up in the morning, checked his checking account, and he was out $6,700 and some change. And he said, what in the halo happened? And I said, well, there could be a few factors. And he's not my customer, actually. He wanted to find out if there's any way to save him from getting that money back. Now, that would be an attorney, or, you know, maybe a mediator can probably help him in some way. But on the credit aspect is when you owe a debt and you get to that position where you're ignoring the tax 1099-C, we'll talk about that in the future because tax is around the corner. You're not opening these mail because you're thinking that, oh, you know what, it's just a collection letter, trash it, trash it, trash it. But what it is a letter that possibly had been a court letter that had been trying to serve you at some point. Now, they've changed a couple of laws, and we'll have to ask Augusta, you know, or some of the attorneys if this is valid or not. But now they don't have to physically serve you. If they made a certain amount of attempts and then you're not answering to them, they will automatically garnish that in some way, either through your job, your bank account, and in this case, his bank accounts. And so he was just like, they can't do this to me, and da-da-da-da-da-da. And I said, and then at that point, I would have to to forward him to an attorney who could better advise him how to get that money back. But it all comes to, you know, proactive, investing in yourself, like investing in your relationships.
Take responsibility.
Right? Yes, yes.
Yeah, you definitely both come from very similar places.
Yes.
In the way that you coach people and you work with people, and
Yes.
credit is communication, because if a person doesn't open up the envelope where they get the
mail,
The notice.
that's bad communication.
That's
and
right.
it's the same thing as mediation, where it's really all about perception and
Absolutely.
and good or bad communication. And so it's great to have coaches, people in your life that you can utilize, because I know for myself personally, when I'm in it, I can't see. My perception of how things are can be so different than how they are in reality, and having ladies like the two of these to be able to navigate you through situations where you can't see the forest for the trees, if you'll admit it, out there. But anyway, I want the both of you really quickly to give plugs for your businesses.
I do an initial 30-minute free consultation. My website is mediationaroundthetable.com. You can contact me through that, or on Facebook /mediation table. Thank you, Guy.
coming on to Angel's show this weekend.
Yeah, go
We'll
ahead,
talk
Maxine.
more.
How can they get in
Yes.
contact with you?
Okay. You can check me out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I'm everywhere. But on askyourcreditlady.com, and shout out to my phone number 702-767-4149.
We hope you enjoyed this edition of the Guy Dawson Show, and we will see you all next week at this time, 2 p.m. Pacific Time, every Thursday. Have a great week.